Basically, we've had 100 years of an attempt to dumb down the American people.
So one of the awesome things about working for Human Events is we get to interview Mark Levin on his brand new, which is going to be sure to be a blockbuster, book, Ameritopia, The Unmaking of America. Mark, thanks for joining Human Events for an
Pleasure,
interview.
brother.
Now, I loved reading the book and was able to get...
I love writing it.
I love writing. It was clear and evident. I have to ask you, you write in Ameritopia, your goal is to, quote, probe more deeply into what motivates and animates the tyranny of statism. So what drives this utopian idea that we must all be slaves and servants for the state?
Well, you know, when I undertook this project, I got to thinking to myself that basically we've had 100 years of an attempt to dumb down the American people. You know, to believe that government can do all these things, government should do all these things, that the Constitution's irrelevant, that it was written by a bunch of slave owners. That's all passé, and what we should be paying attention to is what these politicians are going to give to us or do to us. I thought to myself, you know, we cannot fully appreciate this nation and who we are and the really unique opportunity we have as citizens of this country compared to every other society that man has ever known if we don't get to the bottom of this. In other words, who are these people and what is this force that is so alluring to tens of millions of our fellow Americans and yet will destroy them? And yet, on the other side, where do these notions of individual sovereignty and the civil society and natural rights and natural law and unalienable rights and so forth, where do they come from? The consent of the governed and representative government. The founders were brilliant in that they fought a revolution over this and they instituted it, but they didn't invent it either. So my thinking is, really it is a challenge. It's a challenge to throw off 100 years of propaganda and indoctrination and coercion by politicians and bureaucrats to try and get us to be what they want us to be, and to fundamentally understand who we are as human beings.
You dug up this quote by Friedrich Hayek that I just absolutely love. And you set it up by saying liberals are obsessed with the word equality, but not equality under the law, equality of results. I'm going to read you the quote by Hayek, and if you can just comment on it. He says, if the result of individual liberty did not demonstrate that some manners of living are more successful than others, much of the case for a liberty would vanish.
And his point there is that equality and inequality both have a place in society. And when you listen to the modern day, what I call utopians who press for this statism, Obama and so forth, they are constantly talking about equality. And by that they mean conformity and uniformity and outcomes and results. That's totalitarianism. That's tyranny. And so what Hayek and others are saying, and Adam Smith and so many others during the Enlightenment and before, what they're saying is what we mean by equality and what the founders meant by equality in the Declaration of Independence is, look, we're all individual human beings. We have individual sovereignty, all of us. We all have the right to live, that is to be unmolested by other people and government. And we all have the right to pursue our interests, what motivates us in life, that is pursue happiness. That's what they mean by equality, not economic and material equality. And what Hayek is saying there is you have to have a police state, you have to have a totalitarian regime where equality is misunderstood. And what I say in the book is that these utopians who press for statism, the only time they support liberty is in the pursuit of this equal outcomes, this egalitarianism. Otherwise, they don't care about liberty whatsoever.